Yo, shalom, shalom. How y'all doing out there, man? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Hashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai. Y'all see today's lesson, the wisdom of the Most High gave, the wisdom the Most High gave Israel, right? We're going to go into it. Hopefully we'll give y'all some understanding on just how valuable and how great the wisdom that the Most High gave Israel. Hopefully this is going to be a fun lesson. I believe it is. And I really want y'all to see what we stumbled across so we can give y'all some understanding and how beautiful Israel really is, just based off of the wisdom alone, right? And we can go to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, the classic.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So the Most High God said that we are a holy people above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So one of the reasons why we are above all people that are upon the face of the earth is because of the wisdom the Most High God gave Israel. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 1.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 1. Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you.
So he said that we're supposed to hearken unto the statutes, judgments that he gave us, right? Go ahead.
Unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that ye may live.
He will teach us that we should do them so that we may live. Go ahead.
And go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you.
Right. Go jump down to verse 5.
This is Deuteronomy 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
Go ahead.
That ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So we are supposed to do the laws, statutes, and commandments wherever we go. Wherever we go, we're supposed to do the laws, statutes, and commandments. We know y'all probably that's been in the truth for a while have heard, especially OT only brothers, talk about how we don't need to do the law, statutes, and commandments because we're not in the land of Israel. Right here it says wherever we go, we're supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Right, so a simple, easy cut, but just get really not just a cut, just for y'all to get understanding, right? For y'all to be edified, because that's really what we want is for our people to be edified. Verse 6.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and to do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
It says, keep therefore and do them, right? Read that part again for me.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
So this is our wisdom and our understanding in the sight of the nations. Come on.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Right. So whenever they hear the law, statutes, and commandments, whenever they see the law, statutes, and commandments being performed on the earth, they will say, surely this is a wise and understanding people. This is why it's so important for us to act out the laws, to do the laws, not just to know them, but to do them, right? Because we are the light of the world, right? We're supposed to be a light to everyone. Right, we're the ones that are supposed to get this whole world in order, and the only way that we can do that, other than teaching, is to do it, right? Because having an action behind it is teaching, right? Let's go to verse 7.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
So they are saying, what nation is so great that have the Lord of the whole universe nigh unto us. Now, if y'all have been searching out or on this planet, for some time, y'all have probably traveled, right, and got out and seen some pretty nice things, right? The 7 wonders of the world. We got a video for y'all that we want to bring out, but nothing compares to what the Most High God has given Israel, right? So people glorify what is on the earth right now and how wealthy and how luxurious these things are on the planet right now, but nothing compares to what the Most High God gave Israel. So Lord willing, I can present that to y'all and execute that perfectly. So let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 32 and verse 28. Genesis chapter 32 and verse 28. It said, "For what nation is so great, who have God so nigh unto them?" Right. Let's go to Genesis chapter 32 and verse 28.
This is Genesis chapter 32, verse 28. And he said, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men."
We have power with God and with man. We have power with God and with man. That is a powerful, powerful statement. That is a powerful statement. We have power with God and with man, right? Don't ever forget that as being an Israelite. You have power with God and with man. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19 and verse 5. Exodus chapter 19 and verse 5.
This is Exodus at 19, verse 5.
Mhm.
Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
So read that one more time.
Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
So if we obey him and keep it and do it, then we shall be a peculiar treasure, to him and above all people. It says, peculiar treasure unto me above all people. So only when we keep the laws are we better than all the people on the earth, right? So you got to have a few things. You got to have the faith in Christ. You got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and you have to be an Israelite. You have to be an Israelite. That's just how it is. And those combinations equal up to being the greatest people on the planet. Okay? Let's get Psalms chapter 135 and verse 4. Psalms chapter 135 and verse 4. I'm trying to run through these real quick because I want to show how great the wisdom God gave Israel, right? That's for the most part generally what I'm trying to prove by showing how great the wisdom the Most High God gave Israel. So the Most High God gave every nation wisdom. They have a degree of wisdom, but Israel's wisdom is far exceeds everyone else's. Go ahead, King, whenever you got it.
This is Psalms 135, verse 5. For I know that the Lord is great.
135 and 4.
This is Psalms 135, verse 4. For the Lord has chosen Jacob unto himself, and Israel for his peculiar treasure.
Now, again, the Most High God chose Jacob. He chose us. We didn't choose him. He chose us. And it says, unto him, and Israel is a peculiar treasure, right? Again, Israel is a peculiar treasure. It's a very special, unique. It's its own. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like Israel. When we are keeping these laws, believe it when we say when it says we are the salt of the earth, we are the salt of the earth. There's nothing else like us, right? Peculiar. It keeps telling us how peculiar, how unique, how special we are. We are different than every other nation on the planet, right? So let's get Hosea chapter 4 and verse 1. We're going to read down to 6. So we hear this quite often, Hosea chapter 4. We're here in Hosea chapter 4 and how without wisdom, we are nothing, basically, and that's what we're going to prove. No laws, no wisdom. Let's go ahead and get it.
This is Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land.
So he has a controversy with us, the inhabitants of the land, because there is no what?
No truth.
There's no truth. And
no mercy.
No mercy.
Nor knowledge.
No knowledge
of God in the land.
Of God in the land. So we are lacking these things as a people. We lack truth and we lack mercy for one another. We see it all the time. How we can give other people, other nations pass for doing complete harm and utter chaos to us. But if one of us do something as simple as I owe him $20, but I can't pay it right back. I can't pay it back now. How merciless we are to each other. It's disgusting, right? It's disgusting. You see it. Everybody see it, especially y'all been in the hood, man. Y'all been in the hood long enough. We see that. We see those actions, man. We see those actions even in our family, man. It's bad, right? So it says, there is no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land, right? Go ahead.
It's Hosea 4:2. Hosea 4:2. By swearing and lying
Mhm.
and killing and stealing
Mhm.
and committing adultery,
Right. What are these things? These are not keeping the commandments, swearing, lying, killing, stealing, committing adultery. Go ahead.
they break out, and blood touches blood.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away.
So it says, Salakia. So it says that just because of this, our land shall languish, right? Our land, being Israel, shall languish. Hey, and because Adam messed up, the whole earth suffered, the whole entire earth. So whenever we get back in order, not only is our land going to come back, the animals, the sea, the fish, the fowls of the air, all those things are going to come back in harmony. And not just our land, but the whole entire planet is going to come back in order, right? That's why it's so important for us to get ourselves in order first. Now, you have a lot of people that are trying to get the other nations involved, right? A lot of Israelites, once they found out that they're Israel, they're trying to get the other nations involved, but we first got to get ourselves involved so that we can heal our land. When we get ourselves involved, everything else is going to fall into place, right? Go ahead, King.
Verse 3. Therefore shall the land mourn,
Mhm.
and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish,
Mhm.
with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away.
Mhm.
Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest.
Mhm.
Therefore shall thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night.
It said, we shall fall in the day, and our prophets also shall fall with thee in the night, man. Right? Our strength, our help, the thing that's going to get us back right with God, because we have fallen away from the law, statutes, and commandments, which is our wisdom, everything else is going to fall too. The land, the trees, the fish, the air, the water, our people, everything is going to fall. This is why it's important, again, for us to get ourselves in order, right? Go ahead.
It says, therefore shall thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night,
Mhm.
and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge,
Mhm.
because thou hast rejected knowledge, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing how thou forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children.
Right. So because we've forgotten the laws of God, the Most High God forgot us and our children. Right. Everything fell. Everything. Not one thing didn't fall on this planet. Everything fell. Everything got flipped upside down. Right. We're gonna go. Let's get Psalms chapter 119 and 142. We're taking these things step by step just to show and prove y'all how important wisdom is to us, right? And what it's going to look like whenever we get back in power. So y'all are starting to see it a little bit just by hearing the side of basically us falling, right? Everything is chaotic, okay? Let's go to Psalms 119 and 142.
This is Psalms 119 verse 142,
Mhm.
and it says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
The law is the truth, right? The Most High God's righteousness, which is the law, statute, and commandment, is an everlasting righteousness. It will never, ever go away, ever, right? Even when the kingdom of heaven is here, it will be established here on earth so much and so well that it's going to be in us. It's going to be written on our hearts, and we will not fall away from it, right? All praises to the Most High for that. Let's go to the book of Judith, chapter 5 and verse 20. Judith, chapter 5 and verse 20 in the Apocrypha. So again, the laws will never, ever, when the Bible keeps saying that it is everlasting, it will abide forever. He literally means that. He literally means that. Literally, right? He means that. So it's never going nowhere. I know how as bad as Christians want it to be gone, it's not going nowhere, right? Go ahead, King, whenever you got it.
This is Judith chapter 5, verse 20.
Mhm.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error against his people,
Uh-huh.
and they sin against their God, let us consider that his shall be their ruin.
Right.
That
So
this shall be their ruin.
right. So they wanted, we're going to read that again. So they wanted Israel to go against God so that they can conquer us. Right. The only way that the other nations can conquer us is that we go against our God, or we break the commandments, or we stop keeping the Sabbath, something to that nature, right? We stop keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments. So if they can get us to commit one sin, then they say they got us, right? That's how they believe in their heart, which is true, right? They knew it. They knew how to conquer us. They knew how to overthrow us. They knew how to separate us from our God, which is by keeping the commandments. So if they can get us to fall away from the commandments, they knew they had us. Read that again.
Judith chapter 5, verse 20.
Mhm.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error against his people,
If there be any error against his people, go ahead.
and they sin against
And they
their God,
sin against their God,
let us consider that this shall be their ruin,
right?
and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
Right. Let's go to Galatians chapter 4 and verse 26. I believe that's what I want. Galatians chapter 4 and verse 26. Let me get there with you.
This is Galatians chapter 4, verse 26. Galatians 4 and 26. But Jerusalem, which is above is free.
So if you didn't know, Jerusalem, Israel, is our land. Read that again.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free,
Go ahead.
which is the mother of us all.
Right, which is the mother of all the Israelites, right? So that's where we came. That's our land. That's our homeland. That's the land that's promised to us. Okay. Let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 33. Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 33.
This is Leviticus chapter 26, verse 33. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste.
So it's talking about Jerusalem. It's talking about Israel. Read that again.
And I will scatter you among the heathen.
So the Most High God said he was going to scatter us because we fell away from the law, statutes, and commandments. He said he was going to scatter us among the heathen. Go ahead.
And I will draw out a sword after you.
Now, just to do a quick recap real quick, get some understanding. He said he was going to scatter us among the heathens. This is why it's so important to understand that we don't all look the same because we are scattered everywhere. We're going to look different. We're going to look different. Not all of us is going to look the same. We're not all going to look like Negroes. We're not. We're going to look different because we were scattered into all nations. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, we all see when the Most High God brings us all back together again, you're going to have some that look Indian with the dot, that looks Arabian, that looks Chinese. You're going to see that. You know what I'm saying? Because we were scattered amongst all people, all heathens, right? Go ahead.
Leviticus 26, verse 34. And then shall the land enjoy her Sabbath, as long as it lieth desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land. Even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Sabbath.
Right. So we're gonna reside in our enemy's land, right? So the land is gonna be mourning. The land is gonna be in desolation because we fell away from the laws of the Most High God. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 24. Leviticus 18 and verse 24.
This is Leviticus chapter 18, verse 24. Leviticus 18, verse 24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you.
Right, so all the nations are defiled. We're not supposed to defile ourselves by following after the other nations. Okay, the other nations are defiled. Why follow someone that's defiled? Why follow someone that's corrupt? If you follow them, you yourself will be corrupted, right? Go ahead.
It says, defile not yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants.
Right, so we're not supposed to do the things wherever we're scattered into. We're not supposed to follow after the Asians. We're not supposed to follow after the
Indians.
Indians. Arabs, you're not supposed to follow after them.
Greeks, Romans.
Right. You're not, wherever you're scattered, you're not supposed to follow after him. So if he's telling you you're not supposed to follow after him, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to keep your laws, right? Some understanding for the Old Testament only brothers, man. They say that you're not supposed to, you can't keep the laws of God wherever you go. Here it says, if you do, you will be defiled. If you keep their customs, you're defiled. So what are we supposed to keep? Right? He says not to do it. Most High God says not to do it. So getting the understanding of this, with all thy getting, get understanding. If the Bible tells us if we follow after the other nations, we will be defiled, then the only other option is to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the only way we can get right. Okay? Keep going.
This is Leviticus chapter 18, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it,
Mm-hmm.
and the land itself vomited out her inhabitants.
Right, and vomited out the inhabitants. Go ahead.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations,
Go ahead.
neither of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you.
Right.
For all these inhabitants have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled.
All these abominations have the men done. Con. So read that for me one more time, verse 27.
Verse 27, for all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled.
Go ahead, one more.
That the land spew not you out also.
So the land, so we don't follow after them, so the land don't spew us out also. Go ahead.
When ye defile it,
Mhm.
as it spewed out the nations that were before you.
That's right. So clear cut, easy to understand. Don't follow after them, because the Most High God is going to come upon you and draw you out of it if you follow after the other nations. Yeah, so if you follow after other nations, the Most High God is going to spew you out. It's going to cause you to go into, to be taken out, to be spewed out. So let's get into a little bit more of the wisdom of the Most High God. Let's get 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 1. We brought a little bit of this out at camp, and I want to give y'all some understanding, just a little bit more on the wisdom that Solomon had. The wisdom that King Solomon had is what he prayed for. That wisdom is the wisdom that Israel possesses, right? So let's get a little bit of understanding and see how it went with him. 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 1.
It's 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And when the queen of Sheba heard the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions.
So she came to test him. Prove means to test. She came to test him with hard questions. Queen Sheba heard the fame of King Solomon, right? And she came to test him with hard questions. Go ahead.
And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train,
Mm-hmm.
with camels and bare spices.
So this is what she had coming along with her, all the way from Ethiopia. I believe that's Sheba came from. I could be wrong on that. Salaki if I am. But she came with her with a very great train with camels. Go ahead.
And very much gold.
Spices and very much gold.
And precious stones.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart.
Right. So she had to get it out. She had a lot of questions. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And Solomon told her with all questions. There was not anything hid from the king,
Mhm.
which he told her not.
Right.
And when the
So he didn't hold nothing back. Go ahead.
And when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and the house that he built, and the meat of his table,
Right.
and the sitting of his servants,
Mhm.
and the attendance of his ministers,
Right.
and the apparel of his cupbearers,
Now, in the other translations, it says the order of his house, like the order of the kingdom. How he had order in his home, how everything was so organized and so properly well placed, right? This is what happened. Go ahead.
and the apparel of his cupbearers,
Right.
and his ascent by which he went up unto the house of the Lord.
Right. How he walked, how he moved, how he ascended and descended. Go ahead.
There was no more spirit in her.
There was no more spirit in her. She fainted. Right. She
Right.
fainted. She was overwhelmed. She was beside herself. Right. She was very much overwhelmed how order and how well put together he was, and how his house was, and how his kingdom was, how everything looked. She was overwhelmed. There was nothing on earth like it. Right? Go ahead.
And she said to the king, it was true. It was a true report that I heard.
True report that I heard. Come on.
In my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believe not the words.
Salaki. Okay, go ahead and finish that off.
Howbeit I believe not the words until I came, and my eyes had seen it, and behold, the half was not told me.
Right. She said, I didn't even hear the half of it. I thought I heard it all about you, but I didn't even hear the half of it. She fainted. She said they said there was no more spirit left in her, right? Where you at, verse 7?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump down to verse 19.
This is 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 19. The throne has 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind.
So this is King Solomon's throne. There was no throne on earth like King Solomon's, right? So this is talking about King Solomon's throne. Go ahead.
And there was stays on either side on the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the stays.
I wish I had. There was a brother in the nation of Israel that actually made a digital art of this. You see it? Have you seen it?
I think maybe.
Yeah, I wish I had brought it. I wish I had got it. Shalom, officer. Shalom, officers. Shalom, shalom, Israel. But yeah, brother made a digital art of this, man. I wish I had it so that I can let y'all see what it looks like. It's beautiful. He did a beautiful job of this 1 Kings chapter 10, and they had like Sheba fainting at the bottom of the footsteps, right? It was a beautiful picture, man. But go ahead.
The throne has 6 steps. On the top of the throne was round behind, and there were stays on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the stays,
right?
And 12 lions stood there on one side and on the other upon the 6 steps.
Right. So there's 6 steps leading up to his throne, and then there's lions statues on the side of it, right?
There was not the like made in any kingdom.
There's no other kingdom like it. Go ahead.
And all the like it. That's where they steal that from us.
Yeah.
Have you seen like the lion statues in libraries?
Yeah, definitely.
They steal that from us.
100%. 100%.
Verse 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon.
It was beautiful, man. It was hard to imagine, man. This is why this video is going to be so important, because it's going to give you a little bit of understanding on how, kind of how the kingdom was, and how how he rolled in the because this is the closest that we can get to actually seeing how it was, right? But I don't want to spoil anything, so I want to wait till we get to it. But let's get to the book of Sirach, chapter 24. The book of Sirach, chapter 24. Let's get into the actual wisdom that is the nation of Israel. Sirach, chapter 24, verse 1.
This is Sirach, chapter 24, verse 1. Wisdom shall praise herself, she shall glory in the midst of her people. In the congregation of the Most High shall she open her mouth, in the triumph before his power. I came out of the mouth of the Most High,
right,
and covered the earth as a cloud.
It says you came out of the mouth of the Most High and covered the earth, right, as a cloud. Go ahead.
I dwelt in high places, and my throne is in a cloudy pillar.
Go ahead.
I alone compassed the circuit of heaven, and walked in the bottom of the deep, in the waves of the sea, and all the earth, and every people and nation I got a possession.
So Salakia, before we get into that, read verse 1 again, because I don't really want people to miss it.
This is Sirach chapter 24, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Wisdom shall praise herself.
Wisdom shall praise herself. Go ahead.
And shall glory in the midst of her people.
She will glory in the midst of her people. All of her people shall have the understanding of her. Go ahead.
In the congregation of the Most High, she opened her mouth, and triumphed before his power.
Hmm.
I came out of the mouth of the Most High and covered the earth as a cloud.
She came out of the mouth of the Most High, and you see this. You see this in movies, man. Right? They got the whole what is it? Thor and what's the other one? Wonder Woman. How she was created. If you ever go into the understanding of how Wonder Woman was created, I don't know if we got any big comic book nerds, but I was at one time. I probably wasn't. I wasn't the biggest, but I was definitely into it. But she was said to be made out of clay, but she was the express thought of, I think his name is Odin or Zeus or something like that. I can't remember fully, but this is where they get a lot of the understanding of how they stole the information and made it into a movie, right? But this is actual real, and this is about wisdom, man. But go ahead.
I came out of the mouth of the Most High and covered the earth as a cloud.
Right.
I dwelt in high places, and my throne is in a cloudy pillar. I alone compassed the circuit of heaven and walked in the bottom of the deep, in the waves of the sea, and in all the earth, and every people and nation I got a possession.
And every people and every nation she got a possession, right? She says she alone compassed the circuits of heaven, right? And went into the deep, right? She's just exploring everything. She's into everything. I believe it's let's get it. It says that wisdom is the movement in every moving thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 24.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 24.
Uh-huh.
It says, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 24, for wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness.
Salakia. So if you ever go into like the molecules, the elements, and vibration, so they broke actual, like, science actually got string theory from studying comics. I don't think y'all understood. I don't think y'all understood that. The comic book came up with a theory called string theory. It's a theory, but they say that everything can be broken down to a single molecule, and in that single molecule, it being broken down to a string. It was Flash. It was the comic book of Flash that came up with that theory, and science believed it to be true, and they took it, right, to believe it, and they start teaching it, and that's where what science or art imitates life, or life imitates art. But comic books came up with that idea, but science actually agrees with it, and they took it and started teaching it. So I'm saying it to say that it says that wisdom, read that part again for me. Wisdom is in.
It says Wisdom of Solomon 7 verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
Wisdom is more moving than any motion. String theory, meaning it vibrates. It has a vibration, right? Anything, they said that science says that anything that that how they can determine how they can consider what is intelligent life form or not is if it moves. If it moves, that's classified as an intelligent life form, right? And it says that wisdom is more moving than any motion. It's more moving than any motion. I'm gonna need somebody smarter than that to break that down for me fully, right? That's tough, man. It's more moving than any motion, right? But go ahead.
And she passes and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness.
Right. So she passes and goeth through all things, man. So let's get back to the book of Sirach, chapter 24.
The Sirach, chapter 24, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
I dwell in high places. My throne is in a cloudy pillar.
Mm-hmm.
I alone compassed the circuit of heaven and walked in the bottom of the deep, and the waves of the sea and all the earth and every people and nation I got a possession.
Right. So she got a possession in a people, in a nation. Go ahead.
With all these I sought rest, and in whose inheritance shall I abide?
Right. So she's trying to figure out who shall she abide in? Who is her inheritance? Who is her people? Go ahead.
So the creator of all things gave me a commandment,
The creator of all things gave her a commandment.
and he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and
Mhm.
said, let thy dwelling be in Jacob,
Let thy dwelling be in Jacob. So her people is Israel. Go ahead.
and thine inheritance in Israel.
Uh-huh.
He created me from the beginning before the world,
Mm.
and I shall never fail.
Come on.
In the holy tabernacle I served before him, and so was I established in Zion.
Mm.
Likewise, in the beloved city he gave me rest, and in Jerusalem was my power. And I took root in honorable people, even in the portion of the Lord's inheritance.
Right. So it says that he gave her rest in Jacob. In it says, I'm sorry, in Jerusalem. It says, and in Jerusalem was my power. And in Jerusalem was my power. Right. So this is where she gets to thrive. So she hasn't gotten to thrive like she should because we haven't kept the laws of God. The only time we really get to see a people that actually thrives on the earth like they're supposed to is when we keep the laws of God, man. It's going to be something that the world hasn't fully got to experience. Got to experience it for a while, but not fully, right? And it's going to come again. You got something? You got something? Go ahead and bring it up. After you do that, we're going to get that video.
This is Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
Beautiful scripture, man. And that's very true, man. Every scripture, every word is true. It's powerful. So before you get the video, go ahead and give me John chapter 17, verse 17.
This is John chapter 17, verse 17. This is John 17, verse 17. Sanctify them through thy truth.
Mm-hmm.
Thy word is truth.
Thy word is truth, man. It will never fail. The word of God is true and it will never fail, man. So when he says it, it's going to happen. You can bet it's going to happen. Let's get this video real quick. I want y'all to see something.
It's hard to imagine a time when Dubai didn't have the skyline it does today. With new feats in architecture gracing the city almost every year, the endless tourism and shopping opportunities, and the incredible state of security, healthcare, and education in Dubai, it is a dream to live, work, or even vacation in this city. But it wasn't always futuristic buildings and skyscrapers. The man who took Dubai from a desert land and a fishing village to a global financial powerhouse, which is a playground for the wealthy.
So everybody knows, I have heard of the city Dubai, right? And how wealthy this city is. So this city is supposed to be extremely wealthy. And this video is not going to actually show how wealthy the city is because they've just installed an underwater train and they're installing a dome over the city to where you can go out to the streets and have an air-conditioned street. That's off the chain. That's I haven't seen anything luxurious like that. I don't know of any other city that's like that, right? Where they're going to put a dome over the city so that they can have an air conditioned outside, bro. They're going to air condition the outside. Come on now, right? But when we get back to our commandments, when we get back to our wisdom, I want y'all to see this for a reason. Go ahead.
Is Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, currently the ruler of Dubai. He was witness to the British relinquishing the Seven Emirates and made Dubai what it is today. And as he rapidly sped up the progress of the city, he amassed wealth beyond our imaginations. And today, we're going to take a look at the lifestyle of the wealthiest family in Dubai. Before we go on, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. The Al Maktoum family is the ruling family in Dubai, UAE. And suffice to say, say they lead a lifestyle like no other. The current ruler and prime minister of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed, is worth $18 billion. He controls Dubai Holdings, a global investment company. He launched Emirates Airlines and developed the Dubai International Airport and Al Maktoum International Airport. And if you've ever been lucky enough to have a stopover in Terminal 3 of Dubai International Airport, you know it's a luxury mall and hotel rolled into one, complete with a spa and a gym. With a portfolio like that, he has rightly earned his wealth and has invested it well into an impressive collection of properties outside the Middle East. He owns La Belle Epoque penthouse in Monaco. The 3-bedroom, 17,500 square foot duplex penthouse comes with a double-height library, vast roof terraces, an infinity pool, a cinema, leisure rooms, and a media room with chairs that convert into beds. There is even a panic room with reinforced glass and surveillance cameras. All of this and more cost the Sheikh a whopping $308 million, which is probably a drop in the bucket for him. He also owns the 63,000-acre Inveterate estate in Scotland, and the property includes a 14-bedroom manor with a 16-bedroom guest house. This property was bought over 30 years ago for $2.5 million, which in today's terms is about $5.5 million.
So y'all see, this man's worth $18 billion, man. $18 billion. And I think his son's got like gold cars and Hummers and horses, and it's crazy, right? They just living it up over there, right? But I wanted y'all to see that because the Bible talks about, let's get First Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 9. I want y'all to see that for a reason, because as luxurious as this city is, man, it's nothing compared to what's coming. There's nothing compared to what the nation of Israel is going to possess.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
It says,
No, 2 verse 9.
2 verse 9.
Uh-huh.
It's 1 Corinthians 2, verse 9. 1 Corinthians 2, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
But as it is written, I have not seen, an ear heard. Sorry, I have not seen nor ear heard, neither having entered into the heart of man the things which God had prepared for them that love him.
Yeah, hey, I want you to read it one more time for me.
It's 1 Corinthians 2, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
But as it is written, I have not seen,
And eye has not seen, go ahead,
nor ear heard,
nor ear heard.
neither have entered into the heart of man.
So what y'all just seen it's nothing compared to what's coming. Go ahead.
The things which God had prepared for them that love him.
Which things that God has prepared for them that love him, which is the nation of Israel. You can't even imagine it, man. It says, no eye have seen, nor ear has heard. We just showed y'all a little clip of the city of Dubai. And I just told y'all about the other operations that he's got, having a train underwater, and having a controlled city, like the air-conditioned weather, where it's going to be a dome over the city, and they can just control. They can go outside and be like, man, it's too hot. Let's cool it down in this area of the streets. Huh? Man. Hey, read that for us again, please. If I can do that.
This is 1 Corinthians 2, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
But as it is written, I had not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God had prepared for them that love him.
All right. This says, have entered into the heart of man the things which God had prepared for them. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 17. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 17.
This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of things that are, namely, to know how the world was made, the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of the times.
So this is go ahead.
And alterations, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the changing of and the change of seasons.
So we're gonna break this down a little bit. This is the wisdom that King Solomon got from the Most High. The wisdom that King Solomon got from the Most High. It said the operation of seasons. It said the beginning, the end. So King Solomon knew the beginning and he knew the end of everything. He knew the beginning of the creation of the world and the end, man. He said he knew the midst of time, meaning he knew the middle ages. He had the understanding of how mankind was going to be. He knew these things, man. His wisdom was off the chain. It was uncharted, man. So, what else does it say? The alterations of the turning of the sun. He knew the change of seasons. Right. Let's go to 14 or 19.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 7 verse 19. The circuits of years,
right,
and the position of stars.
Circuits of years and the position of the stars. King Solomon understood all of this. Go ahead.
The nature of living creatures, and the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds, and the reasoning of men, the diversity of plants, and the virtues of roots.
The understanding that King Solomon, the wisdom that King Solomon had was tough. I mean, he understood things that it almost probably seemed like magic, right, to a lot of people. If you didn't know no better, you like how Queen Sheba was, she fainted at the wisdom that Solomon had. So the understanding that he had would probably seem like a magic. It would seem like magical, right? Just the understanding that he had, the depth of understanding that he had of things. It was, and that's the wisdom that he got from the Most High, right? I'm talking about powerful, man. We have a very limited understanding and wisdom now because of our sinful nature, our sinful ways. But when we come back, when the Most High God puts these laws, statutes, and commandments in our hearts, it's going to be like the earth has never seen before, man. Right? So just like the scripture said, no eye have seen nor ear have heard. It says neither have entered into the heart of man. It hasn't even entered into the heart of man. We can't even grasp the understanding. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad I got the opportunity to present this to us, man, as a people. And I know brothers have done lessons over King Solomon before and have done a beautiful job of giving the breakdown of the wisdom that the King Solomon had, right? So we just giving y'all just a little bit of understanding of the wisdom the Most High God gave us as Israel. It's different than all the other people. So you don't have to follow after them, right? You don't have to follow after them. The Most High God gave us something very special. Okay, so let's get verse 20. Oh, you already did 20. Let's get 21. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 21.
This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, verse 21. And all things and all such things as are either secret or manifest, them I know. For wisdom, which is the worker of
read that again for me.
Verse 21. And all things as are either secret or manifest, them I know.
All things that are either secret or manifest, them I know. That is a statement that he's making. Go ahead.
For wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me. For in her is the understanding, spirit holy, one only, manifold, subtle, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the things that is good, quick, which cannot be letted, ready to do good, kind to men, steadfast, sure, free of care, having all power, seeing all things, and going through all understanding, pure and most subtle spirits.
So this is the wisdom that the Most High God gave Solomon, that is for us, that is for the nation of Israel. This spirit is clear, it is lively, subtle, it is one only, meaning it's nothing like it. There's no other spirit like wisdom. The wisdom that the Most High God gave to the nation of Israel, there's nothing like it, man. Right? Go ahead.
Kind to men, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power, overseeing all things, and going through all understanding.
Having all power, overseeing all things. Man, that's tough. Go ahead.
And going through all understanding, pure and most subtle, spirits.
Come on.
For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
Go ahead.
She passeth in going through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of God.
She is what?
The breath of the power of God.
The breath of the power of God is the law, statutes, and commandments. The law, statutes, and commandments is the breath and the power of God. And he gave that to us. He gave that to us, man. Right? That's the kind of God we serve, that is merciful and that is giving to his children. The breath and the power of God. This is why we have power with God and with man. We are in a powerful position, man, when we keep the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, go ahead.
For she is the breath of the power of God
Mm-hmm.
and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty.
So influence, period. Influence alone is power. That we have influence right now, as it's not a good influence, but we have so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We have influence on this earth as how we dressed, how we dance, how we talk, how we sing. We have influence on this earth, right? But just imagine how the influence is going to be when we're in our righteousness, man. They're really going to look at us as if we are gods on earth. It's going to change everything, right? Go ahead.
For she is the breath of the power of God
Mm-hmm.
and a pure influence flowing from the glory of Almighty,
Mm-hmm.
of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her, for she is the brightness of the everlasting light.
Where you at?
Verse 26.
Okay, go ahead.
For she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of God and the image of his goodness.
Right.
And being but one, she can do all things. And remaining in herself, she maketh all things new.
Mm.
And all ages entering the holy souls, she maketh them friends of God and prophets.
So read that part right there one more time. Entering into souls.
And remaining in herself, she maketh all things new, and in all ages entering into holy souls.
Entering into holy souls. Go ahead.
She maketh them friends of God and prophets.
She maketh them friends with God and prophets. So those people that keep her, she maketh them friends of God and prophets. If you keep the law, statutes, and commandments, she will make you friends of God and prophets. That's powerful, man. That is beautiful. That is beautiful to hear, man. Keep going.
For God loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
For she is more beautiful than the sun, and above the order of stars, being compared with the light, she is found before it.
Come on.
For after this cometh night, but vice shall not prevail against wisdom.
Right. So that's just some of the understanding that King Solomon was able to give us based off of the wisdom that he had. I want you to go to 1 Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 27. Because people look at the pyramids as a great thing. And I'm talking about, I hear Joe Rogan talking about it. I hear all kinds of people talking about how great these pyramids are. But our ancestors actually built this, right? And it's actually in the scriptures. And they talk about how perfect a line that they are. If you was one stone off, if you was a centimeter here and there, it wouldn't, at the top of the pyramid, wouldn't have came together. They glorify these pyramids as if they're some great thing, man. And it is a great thing to them. But I'm going to show y'all that our ancestors built this too. 1 Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 27 through 28.
This first Maccabees 13 verse 27.
Uh-huh.
Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre of his father
Go ahead.
and his brethren,
Uh-huh.
and raised it aloft to the sight,
Uh-huh.
and whom stones behind and before.
Right. So Solomon built Salaki, what does it say?
And Simon also built a monument
upon it, right? So he built a monument, and he did it for his family, for his father and his brother, right? Go ahead.
Upon a sepulchre of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloft to the side, and hewn stones behind and before.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids.
He did what?
Set up 7 pyramids.
So Simon had the wisdom and understanding to set up 7 pyramids. Go ahead.
one against another,
Uh-huh.
for his father and his mother and his 4 brethren.
Right. So he did that for his father, his mother, and his 4 brothers. So Simon had understanding to build pyramids as well. We had that understanding. We had that knowledge, right? So that's not a great thing to us. But you're going to see something that's great that's coming up on the earth, man. I can't explain it because I can't even tell. I can't even imagine it. The imagination doesn't do it justice. Our imagination doesn't do it justice. I can show y'all thousands of pictures, man. It says a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? And an image is worth 1,000 pictures. I can't even give y'all an image or a picture to express how great the kingdom is going to be, how powerful wisdom is going to be on this earth, the presence that we're going to have, the influence that we're going to have. It's not, I can't do it justice, right? But I'm trying. And that's what we all do. All brothers, we try to do. We try to give y'all as much as we can, man. But, you know, one day we all will see, Lord willing. Let's go to I don't think I want to get into that, but we can end it with 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 9 again.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9. But as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered in the heart of men the things which God had prepared for them that love him.
God, I do want to get into it a little bit. I'm gonna get into it a little bit just because you want the balance of everything, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 16. And we're gonna read from 16 to 17. From 16 to 17.
This is Ecclesiastes 1 verse 17.
Because King Solomon, he had very great wisdom, very great understanding, right? And his understanding and wisdom probably got the best of him, right? So let's listen to this real quick.
Ecclesiastes 1 verse 16. I commune with my own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and I've gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem.
So Solomon's saying he got more wisdom than all of them before him that was in Jerusalem, right? Go ahead.
Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge.
So his heart got great experience of wisdom and knowledge, meaning he had the best of the best. There was men that was before him that were greater than any other men in any other nation, but he was better than them. He had more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding than they did, right? Verse 17.
Verse 17, and I gave my heart to wisdom.
Mm-hmm. He gave his heart to wisdom.
And to know madness and folly.
And to know madness and folly. Solomon wanted to know madness and folly. He wanted to know why evil is evil. He wanted to know why sin is sin. He wanted to know these things. He wanted to know everything, right? Go ahead.
I perceive this is also vexation of spirit.
So it's vexation of spirit. He did this for us at the end of the day. So we don't have to go into sin. We don't have to go into wickedness and evil. It's vexation. It's vain. It's vanity. It means nothing. This is nothing. All the evil that we did and all the evil that we're doing, it isn't amounting to nothing, man. It's vanity at the end of the day. So he went into a lot of the madness. It said madness and folly, right? He wanted to know evil. So he did that for us at the end of the day. So we don't have to know it. We don't have to go into these different types of books and spells and because words that are put on paper is to influence the reader. It's to influence how we the writer is trying to express something to the person that's reading it. And a lot of times you get into books that aren't good for us. It'll put a spirit on you, right? It'll put a bad spirit on you. You can't shake it off. You be walking around the corner backwards, trying to figure out how to make, get them evil spirits off of you. So you don't have to go into all of that. Okay. Our ancestors already did it. The things was written aforetime was written for our learning, right? This Bible has a Holy Spirit on it. This is all we need, right? So Lord willing, y'all got some understanding. Y'all got some edification. Y'all got some knowledge on a little bit of meat of what we brought out. Just knowing how the wisdom the Most High God gave Israel, man. And Lord willing, y'all will come and keep the commandments and encourage other brothers and sisters to do the same thing. So with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushua. Shalom.
Shalom.